some things that I don't think if you're going to be, or you're going to be happy with them or take them lightly. First of all, the reasons we are saying that the government, the president is a liar, is based on how he gives promises and he never delivers on them. And there's something I also want to highlight or bring to light what's happening. The government is talking about reducing the appetite for loans, taking loans. And do you know how much they have borrowed so far? And still they're overtaxing us. We are overladen with taxes, but now they're also still borrowing to what end and to what cost. We don't know where they're using or utilizing the money that they're borrowing. Because if you're going to go back on what National Treasury report says, Ruto so far in 9 months, Ruto has borrowed around 1.2 trillion. When you compare that with what his predecessor, Uhuru Kenyatta borrowed around 437 billion in the first 12 months. And this is nine months. You can imagine 1.2 trillion. And we are still being overtaxed. You can imagine. I don't know exactly if at all you've realized this, because in my neighborhood, I've realized people are losing jobs on a daily basis. It's happening. People are under pressure. People are going through a lot. And what the government says that they are trying to cut down on what? On the appetite of taking loans. But the report states or says otherwise. Why should we keep on trusting this government, which is so selfish and so keen on bringing this government down? Where are we headed as a country? And if at all that's the much he's borrowed, how much more do we anticipate him to borrow? Because he hasn't even gone, is it halfway of his leadership? And just imagine the harm he's done already. This is a burden he's imposing on the posterity. And we should just keep quiet. He makes a public appearance. All he do is just give us promises, one promise after the other. So far, this government hasn't done anything in terms of development. So I'm wondering, where did this money go? Was it meant to offset the liability? And we are still being overtaxed to pay the same. You can't imagine the situation or the precarious situations we put in by this government, which is so selfish and more focused on themselves. It's no longer about hustlers. It's no longer about Wanjikus. It's no longer about Wekesas and Nafulas of this country. These people, their appetite is pegged on destroying and making sure that most of us are going to be poor to an extent that they can just remote us. If this is the kind of leadership we are going to endure for the next how many years to 2070, is it 20 this 2024 to 2027, then I think we have a problem as a country. By the time this person exists from leadership, the country will be on its knees, and that's the fact. 1.2 trillion in 9 months. 1.2 trillion in 9 months. There's no development, nothing. But now what the government keeps on telling us, that they are overtaxing us because they don't want to borrow. And you can imagine 1.2 trillion in 9 months. Who's Why should you be lying? Why should you just be lying? Every time you open your mouth to say something to about lies, you want to like lies every other day. For how long? You are causing this country harm. And if at all you're unable to run this country, then it's a problem. A good manager or a good leader should be good in terms of negotiating. Should be perfect in terms of negotiating. The best thing he could have done, he could have sat down all the creditors and tried to reach an agreement with them on how we are going to pay as a country, instead of taking a loan to offset those loans that were maturing. So that means we are still building up on the liabilities. We are still building up, and we are being like sort of enslaving our country, enslaving the posterity. We keep on doing that, and then for how long? To what end? How do we intend to come out of this? So that means we will be taking loans to offset, and more so, we are being overtaxed. The reason, I don't know why, because you have to really either do either of one, either of the two. You cannot be borrowing and at the same time you're overtaxing people. For how long are we going to be overburdened, overladen with all these cross? For how long? There should be a timeline. But for this, I guess, it's just an endless struggle. This is a burden we've taken on ourselves, and is also going to affect the posterity. I don't know where we are going to stand as a country. What are your thoughts? This is something we should be talking about. We cannot just sit back and wait. Wait for what? What are we waiting for? You think this government is going to change things? How are we going to come out of this? How are we going to come out of this? If at all this government is keen on making life bearable for each and every one of us. It's so disappointing to have entrusted a hustler who has his own personal interest to champion. Just yesterday, in fact, the former deputy president, he was impeached. We know, we all aware of that. Reason, he was corrupt. So the reason why he was impeached is because he was corrupt. And they always say, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. The president and his deputy could have impeached. Both of them were supposed to be impeached. Because how didn't you sacrifice a smaller thief and leave a bigger thief at large to do what he knows best? So how are we curing the problem? Unless we also go after the big thieves. The politics of this country has messed this country, because it's all about the politics play today is just all about interest. It's all about what you'll benefit, what you intend to gain. And that's the more reason you have some leaders, public figures alluding to the same. It's so disappointing. It's so disappointing if at all someone who is held with high regard goes on what in a TV, on a TV station, just to just to just to support the same. If leaders, we've gotten to a point where leaders now can just boldly on public televisions allude to such, then we have a problem as a country. How do we fix this? These people serve, and believe me, if at all you're given a responsibility, a smaller responsibility to do, and then you fail, then what's the guarantee that you're going to perform on the higher responsibility? And that's exactly what's so glaring. All these people have been the government. All these people have played part in terms of making the life of Kenyans hell. We always side whoever we side. And mark you, they always champion their own interests. Their focus is not us. Imagine, I remember in every election, or in every election or after elections, the aftermath of any other election, someone who is not happy with what the results, do you know exactly what they do? They engage the poor. They use the poor to be able to champion for better for themselves. And that's exactly what Raila has been doing over the years. The moment he gets what he wants, he goes silent. And then we are left to bear with what the shit the government will be projecting to us. We have to wake up and defend our country. Our forefathers fought for this country, and it's like the freedom we got as a country only benefited a few black barbaries. We have to rise against this. We have to wake up, and this is the time. Let's not just be comfortable within our cocoons and allow this government mess us some more. Because we are on a trajectory, we are headed on a wrong trajectory. We are on a trajectory to destruction. People are losing. There's a massive layoff. Companies are closing down. And if at all you are unable, because if you overtax, there's what we call disposable income. When the tax deductions goes down, that means I'll have more disposable income to save and to invest. And when I invest, I create value, I create jobs, and we increase we reduce what we call dependent ratio, and also increase build on demand. And when you increase demand, definitely to counter, supply has to increase. So they have to employ more to be able to meet up with the demand. So that means the system is fueled in terms of growth. But if you're going to overtax a country to an extent that we don't have any disposable income, we're only surviving, then there's no job creation. And that means even the market is going to shrink in terms of employing or job opportunities. It's going to shrink because even the current companies that we have are not going to survive because of the high tax. And that will lead to what? I don't know who's advising the government. I don't know who's advising the president. They have swift mouth, but the problem is that they don't have solutions. Or either They know what to do, but because they are so engulfed with what? Greed. They are focused on their stomach, forgetting that we are. And leadership is not permanent. It's just for a season. And I think this time round, the moment these people exist from leadership, we are supposed to go after them. We are supposed to go after them. Whoever has misused the public offices, whoever has amassed wealth illegally to himself, we are supposed to go after them. Someone has to pay a price to discourage all this nonsense from going on. We have to do it to uh, to 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 to, in, to bring sanity. It might be a joke. It's just something people on online they'll exchange words. Some like it's just a normal thing. But this has a very drastic impact. Drastic. We are feeling it. We are feeling it. In fact, it's unbearable. At least we survived in Uhuru's government. Uh, he's specialized in I think finance, so definitely has a clue of what an economy is entailed and how to build an economy. But the problem with the current president, I think, I don't know, we lost it. I don't know, we lost it because matters to do with the economy, he doesn't have a whiff. In fact, he has no knowledge about that. So definitely, he's relying on the advisors, and sometimes he always he bulldozes his own ideas. And Marquis is not an economist or anything to do with business related. He's something what? He's done what? He's done botany or something. He should be dealing with plants, not human beings or living creatures. He should be dealing with plants. That's where he suits best in terms of his profession. He's supposed to be handling plants the way you what the way you handle plants and how to increase, I don't know, productions or whatever, it's totally different with how you manage the government, manage people, because it's whole two different field. He can advise in terms of how to, in terms of agriculture, a little bit maybe he might be having a very minimal idea in that respect. But in terms of managing an economy, I don't think if at all is in a better position to be able to take this country to a greater heights. So, what are we going to do? And what's the next? What's the next thing for us as a country? Because where we are as a country, I don't think if at all we're headed in a good direction. If at all Tanzania is doing better than us, you can imagine when we have all the elite group in Kenya, we are known. We are known world over. We are known. We have the smart people in Africa, in the world. That's why we have several inventions like whoever invented Safaricom. Uh, is it M-Pesa app? It's a Kenyan. We've done many things as far as education is concerned. We've broken we've broken many records in terms of leadership, in terms of In fact, we are the first one to produce even the first president with a Kenyan origin, the first president of the strongest government in the world who has a Kenyan origin. So that means we possess, we possess, we have possessed something unique. We are known all over. Mention Kenya anywhere in the world, and anywhere in the world, people, at least they have knowledge of who we are. Because in this space, we've really done well for our country. But the problem is we allow crooks to manage professionals. So you can imagine, just because we allow even MPs, some of them don't have degrees, don't have even diplomas. They have just follow Form 4. Form 4 graduates who are making laws, deciding on which direction we're supposed to go as a country. You can imagine making decisions for professors. No wonder doctors are underpaid. So as I conclude, what I want to tell you guys, unless we all wake up, hold hands, fight, and keep on fighting relentlessly without stopping, continue on what we started, revolution, we can pick up somewhere and continue championing for a good cause for this country, for the posterity, and let's save this country together. Thank you.